Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Creatica Studios. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Martin Waxman. If people don't actually know, he was my teacher at Schulich, York University, and he's a leading researcher in AI and digital marketing.
Thank you, Osama. Great to see you again out of the classroom, sort of in real life where you work. And yeah, so I teach digital marketing. I'm an adjunct professor at the Schulich School of Business. I'm also the associate director of the Future of Marketing Institute there, which makes me think a lot about what's going on, but also what could go on in the future. And sometimes it gets dystopian, sometimes not. You know, you have to be optimistic. Before that, I used to own my own agency. And so I come from the agency world, and it was kind of a change to go into more teaching and research and developing courses for LinkedIn Learning, but I love it. And one more thing, I do an AI and digital marketing trends newsletter on LinkedIn. So please, if you don't subscribe, try doing that.
Yeah, you guys all have to subscribe now. You heard it here. That's actually very interesting, though. So I did not know that you work for an agency. So at Creatica, we are an agency over here. We specialize in videography and photography. What did you guys specialize as an agency?
As an agency, we specialize. This is a long time ago. So I was out of the agency business. I sold my shares in it in around 2011. But we specialized in consumer products, in PR, in events, and in sponsorship. And it was really fun. And we kind of started it in the early days of social media, really when traditional media was big and big sponsorships. You know, you had to be in the magazines and you had to be on radio and TV. And then social media came in and bloggers and influencers. So it was great kind of learning how to get results for your clients in a different way.
No, that's very cool. So what was that big jump from that agency to, I'm guessing you became a professor afterwards, or?
Not quite. So what happened was, so I had an agency, and at a certain point, I decided to merge with another agency.
Gotcha.
And on paper, it was fantastic. In real life, there was, let's just call it a clash of cultures. So after a period of time, we decided to split apart. My partners or former partners kept the agency, and I wanted to do something different. So I really wanted to focus on digital, social media training, things like that. I wasn't doing much teaching. The teaching came just after I left. And in fact, I started teaching a social media course as a continuing studies course in Hamilton at McMaster. And still doing some agency consulting with friends of mine who own their own businesses. But as I got more involved in digital training, I could see this is something I like doing, and training isn't a big step from teaching. So that's kind of how I moved into it. And then I went back to school not long before you in 2016.
Oh, no
I went
way.
back to do my master's in a program similar to the Master of Marketing at Schulich, except it was geared to working professionals. So it was done part online and part in person during these intensive residencies 3 times a year. But it was great because I got to sit back and ask questions, whereas, you know, in agency, you have to have the answers. Yes, as a student, how does that work? What is it? It was a fantastic change. And so that really led me more into teaching.
Okay, that's very, very cool. You know what? That's actually kind of inspiring, right? You starting an agency, selling the agency.
Not making that much money, but you know.
Okay. You know what? The whole time I'm like, he's talking about he sold his agency. I'm like, this guy's a millionaire already. Okay, we don't know who we're talking to. But his by the way, his newsletter, that's $1 million. Follow that.
Definitely, even though I can't monetize it that well yet. Coming soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
But you know, it's so funny because when you say you sold something, a business, people automatically assume, oh, cash came in. And the reality of it, as you probably know from the agency world, you know, cash flow is often challenging, especially if you're an independent,
Yeah.
which you are, which I was
100%.
way back when. And selling something, you can have a car that you love that's 15 years old. You sell it, oh, I just sold my car. You get $200.
Yeah.
That doesn't get you anything other than the satisfaction of not having to worry about it anymore.
That's very interesting. You know what? You're very correct. Now, I want to kind of dig into something,
Yeah.
right? Me and my friends were just talking about certain things, and we're like, you know, after, let's say you sell an agency
Mhm.
and then you're going back to work, right? There's a lot of, back to school. So there's a lot of people that probably won't go back to school. And we were kind of talking about maybe ego takes a place, right? Some people are too ego and prideful to go back into that student position.
Yeah.
Now, do you have anything to tell them? Like, why it was such a good choice for you to go back to school at that time, even after being a business owner, even after having certain accomplishments?
That's a great question. You know what? It was one of the best decisions I made. I kind of wish I'd done it when I had my agency. So I was taking courses in finance
Yeah.
that I needed when I had my own business. In fact, one of the projects we had to do in the finance course was to take 3 years of a company's financials and analyze them and decide whether or not they made the right strategic decision. So I asked my professor if I could use my own company and my own financials, which I had access to. They were completely private. He said, sure, do it. So I did it, went through the analysis, and I found that really I might have made the wrong decision in merging my agency at that point in time. Might have been smarter for me to try to invest, maybe get a loan to really build up the digital components of it. But I didn't do that, and so hindsight, as they say, is 2020. So going back to school, one, that was a fantastic insight because everything you do that you can learn from makes you hopefully a better person, maybe a little bit smarter than you were before. And honestly, school gives you a chance to hear other people's perspectives. And, as kind of I mentioned before, ask a lot of questions, which we don't get to do that much at work. So I highly recommend it, but you have to want to do it.
Yeah, 100%. That the want, that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you were good in class.
I hope so.
And you always had something to say. I figured, this podcast will be interesting.
Yeah. No, that's all I have going for me, right? It's like I always have something to say. Okay, so getting into the podcast.
Yeah.
So the first half, everyone, is going to be more digital marketing oriented. The second half is going to be more about artificial intelligence.
Okay.
So getting more into it, my first question to you is: so which digital strategies or channels from tools featured, especially on your LinkedIn Learning, called AI and Digital Marketing Trends,
Yeah.
the series,
Yeah.
have you seen drive the most growth for e-commerce businesses and e-commerce brands recently? More, we're looking at 24, 25.
Yeah.
And how should businesses methodically test and optimize these tactics?
That's a really good question. My area of expertise is not e-commerce, so I can speak to the big picture of that. But if you don't mind a little plug, I do have a LinkedIn Learning course
For sure,
called
plug it in.
E-commerce Marketing with Generative AI. So it looks at the tools you can use. And I think you can use email marketing and use AI to kind of personalize emails. But again, if you just start with AI outputs, all you do is you get AI slop. So that's not great. I think where it helps, you can use AI for predictive analytics. So say you have a database of all the emails you sent out before, you have a database of all your customers, which emails worked, which drew traffic. You plug all that in to a large language model like ChatGPT or Google's Notebook LM is a great one. And then you can start asking your data questions like, what caught fire last November? Why do you think that happened? What can we do to make our customers, less anxious and hopefully encouraging them to purchase a little bit more quickly. I think those are the tools when you can use data for predictive analytics to start to see these patterns. And then you can really customize and personalize emails, because honestly, we get so much spam and so much junk.
Yeah.
So many emails come through that even as a customer, I might subscribe to emails from a business that I bought a shirt from because I like their shirts. But all of a sudden, I'm getting emails every day, sometimes twice a day, and it's of no value to me because I'm not looking to buy another shirt from them yet. So they have to understand me a little better, and I think AI can help companies with that.
So, what is Creatica? Creatica is an award-winning all-in-one creative agency where we manage everything related to your brand's growth, from your website and social media management to content creation, video production, and marketing strategies. The value here? You don't have to hire multiple agencies, allowing you to streamline your brand and keep your marketing, creativity, and business growth organized in a single place.
So let's say I'm using a LLM model like ChatGPT, right? Exactly. If I'm inputting the data, like what would you should we use like ChatGPT 5? Should we use the logic version, the reasoning version? Should we do like maybe a search? Should we do what inputs, or like what would be some of the prompts that you would kind of put in there to kind of help the audience out and me out?
Okay.
Yeah.
Really good question. Well, one, ChatGPT 5, they've kind of taken the guesswork out of it for you. Because if you have a paid account, it decides which model you should use based on your question. But I think ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google, Grok from XAI, Claude from Anthropic, if you use their deep research tools, which is really kind of a quasi-AI agent. So it's somewhat autonomous, although you're giving it a prompt. It's not necessarily, going out on its own, but it is finding sources, looking at patterns, and kind of trying to spot insights that we might not have seen. So I think deep research is a good way to start. And to prompt it, one way to do that is use a prompt framework like the one Dave Burse created. It's called the Create framework, and it's really you use each of those letters. So C is for character, R is for request. Character is really like the role you want AI to play. In this case, an e-commerce specialist. The request, what do you want it to do? What's your goal? And then you add in extras. How you want the AI to format your data, things like that. He calls it adjustments. I say audience. So I think there's an opportunity to add in your audience. T is, you can talk back and forth with it. And then that's the way. And then there's a final E2, which I can't remember right now. But the point is, if you structure your request and think about it as if you were programming, but programming with words, then you get a better output than just asking a question and not telling the AI system which data you want it to pull from. So you say you're an e-commerce expert, pulls from that data. You tell it you want it to do some market research. And you define your market with specifics, it'll pull from that data. So you get a much better output from that. And I think using deep learning, you really can get in-depth analyses of a marketplace fairly quickly. And then, of course, you want to dig deeper.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, that's you answered my question exactly. So getting to question number 2, you talk about intent trumps demographics.
Yes.
Right? How can e-commerce brands design content and user experiences that respond to micro moments rather than just broad demographic segments that we kind of see, like everyone's kind of, hitting you with such broad statements in their marketing, but nobody's really focused on the micro moments. Like, if you want to speak to that.
What's really funny about that?
Yeah.
So Google now no longer supports micro moments.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Even though they're there, they've changed what they call them.
Yeah.
They now call it the 4S framework. And in fact, when I was preparing the digital marketing, going back to that lecture, going, oh, what do I have to update? Check this link. What? Doesn't work anymore. So dig around. So 4S is really the 4 types of behaviors that customers are doing online. One is searching.
Yeah.
That's first thing we want to know. That's awareness. Next is scrolling when we're kind of looking for ideas. Then there is streaming when we're watching videos or consuming other content, really to get more in-depth instructions. And finally, S, shopping. So that ties into the I want to know, I want to go, I want to do, I want to buy framework of micro moments. So there's still these moments of intent. Google decided that it wants to call them something different, but the whole idea of intent being more important than demographics, it comes down to understanding your customers and what they need in their own moments of intent. And one of the examples that I use in class is if you're planning a vacation somewhere, you're going to spend a lot of time checking out sites, checking out the hotels and airlines you've got loyalty points with, planning it, seeing where you get the best deal, and taking time to come up with the best vacation for you at that moment in time. But if you're a business traveler and you're traveling from New York to Chicago, you're traveling from Chicago to New York to Toronto with a stopover, and you get to New York and your plane's delayed and you realize you got to spend the night in the airport in New York and you don't want to, that's when you do your search, and whatever comes up and is close and it's trustworthy and has room for you, that's probably where you'll want to spend the night. And so those two different moments, when a customer has loyalty, but when a customer really has an immediate need, means that brands should create content understanding that there are different needs your customers have. So how do your stories show up when your customers want them?
That's actually so beautiful. Like, you probably said that in class, but I understood it more.
Not 4S though.
So I really understood it more now. Like when you're marketing, you kind of got to figure out like, okay, people that are probably wanting your product have like 10 different micro moments.
Yes.
Right. And then do marketing towards each of those micro moments differently, and think about it differently. I think that's very important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And you know what? It comes down to just understanding your customer. It's so funny. I think I learned a lot of that from my dad, who used to have some fabric and drapery stores in Winnipeg where I'm from.
That's nice.
And so for him, he always said the customer is always right. And as a teenager, I get into arguments with him going, no, they're not always right. Sometimes you make this. It wasn't till later that I realized he was saying the customer knows what they want and it's our job to help them. And that's the same thing with digital. It goes from analog, knowing your customers, putting them at the center, putting their needs at the center, talking to them. That's a great thing about social media. You can have conversations.
Yeah.
And then figuring out what they need and not just pushing what you want to sell on them.
Yeah, that's oh man, I'm actually learning through this podcast. I'm not gonna lie. So
there's your test after.
There's a test. Oh, okay. Shit.
Yeah,
I don't know what we're gonna do about that. Critica sign out. So for the next question, we have, in your experience working with brands, what are the most common digital marketing missteps that you see? And from targeting to measurement, and how can companies correct their ROI? Return of investment.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake is not putting your customer at the center, something we were just talking about, and understanding what they want, which channels they're on.
Yeah.
Because if you're not on those channels, they're not going to come to your channels. If you create, say, a hashtag for your brand and your customers are using different hashtags, it takes a lot of work to persuade them to use yours. Why not go where they are? One of the greatest things about social media. So I think that's what you want to understand. You want to listen through social media channels to what your customers are saying. That's where research comes in. And again, finding opportunities where you can either jump into the conversation or create content or get ideas for future campaigns. And then with measurement, oh my gosh, and this is marketing and communication, we pay so much attention to those big metrics, the impressions numbers, which sound impressive. I mean, that's even in their name, right?
Yeah.
But what we really should be measuring, and what many marketers are, is actions, outcomes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, outcomes have a smaller metric because, the marketing funnel, even if you want to say, okay, it's all messed up now, but still the bottom of the funnel is narrower. It should be smaller. But that's really what counts. Are your customers signing up for things? Are they buying things? Are they recommending you? Are they coming back? Rather than an impression. I see the impressions on my newsletter and I just go, okay, great. So this many people might have seen it in their feed. I want to know who spent time with it.
Yeah.
And who took the time to comment, things like that. That's what's really important.
No, 100%. 100%. Outcomes are way more important than getting 100K views if you only got like 10 signups.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
No.
Something very interesting though. What do you think about Steve Jobs then? Because Steve Jobs made the iPhone and made Apple, and they're like, no, we're going to do whatever we want and we're going to shove it down the consumer's throat. What do you think about that?
Not everyone is as brilliant as Steve Jobs. And really, it was his idea, his vision, but he kind of knew what people wanted.
Yeah.
Back then, when the iPhone first came out, I was a really loyal BlackBerry customer. I was on my third or fourth BlackBerry. I went through them like crazy. I really liked typing on those keyboards. And I saw the iPhone, and I thought, nah, not for me. And then after about a year, people I knew started using it, and I got one, and it's like, oh my gosh, I was wrong. He really did know that we live in a visual world. Can I type as well as I could on my BlackBerry? No, but I don't care because I can speak to it, and it transcribes it. I mean, this is many years later, but he really was a visionary. And I think we're still living in the shadow of his visions, even though he's been gone for a long time. So most people aren't like that. Most people can't create a product or, a whole number of different devices that we want. Oh my gosh, the newest iPhone came out. I don't need it, but I want it.
You want it. Yeah.
Am I going to spend that money? Probably not, but maybe.
There we go. It's always that maybe, I love that. So I have another question. So what's one surprise problem that many online stores don't expect but ends up hurting their growth? Anybody kind of selling any services online?
No.
Even with you with your newsletter? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, it goes back to your customer, not understanding your audience. And when your audience changes, and it will over time, not shifting with those changes and just saying, no, this worked. I see that if we go to my newsletter, for example, during the pandemic, my growth rate was way higher than it is now. And now it's kind of not quite flatlined, but close to it. So I have to spend the time to think, okay, I've done this way for the last 5 years. It was really working well. Now it's not working so well. So I can keep doing it and kind of keep trucking along or chugging along. Or I can blow it up and try something new and see if that works, or if that makes the unsubscribes grow even faster. And it's like, whoa, better stop that. So you have to try new things. And that's a great thing about digital and testing. You don't have to throw out everything all at once, but always think about, okay, what's new? How can we just try this little experiment and see if it gets any traction? If it does, maybe you put more resources on it, and pretty soon you're moving in another direction. Going back, that's something Apple has done really well over the years, with the exception of Apple Intelligence, which hasn't, materialized yet. But, when it does, I bet it'll be pretty amazing.
I think they're just waiting. They're waiting.
Yeah.
They have something special for us. For teams looking to level up their digital marketing knowledge,
Yeah.
What learning paths, micro credentials, or channels like your LinkedIn learning newsletter do you encourage? And please plug in.
Okay, well,
Plug in.
first of all, I am biased because I'm a LinkedIn Learning instructor. So on LinkedIn Learning,
Yeah.
you can find specific courses related to what you want to learn. So you want to learn AI prompting. There's a really good course from that guy, Dave Burse, I mentioned. I have a course on, using generative AI for digital marketers, for e-commerce, for PR people. Those are 3 different courses. But what LinkedIn Learning also has is they have different pathways. So if you click on a learning path, what you'll do is they'll bundle 4 or 5 or 6 courses. So for digital marketing, for example, they'll bundle 5 or 6 digital marketing courses together and you get a bigger certificate. You can also get certificates right from the platforms. So Meta offers certificates.
Yes.
Google offers certificates. LinkedIn offers certificates. Twitter used to. I think they might still. I haven't checked it recently. Or
Do workplaces and like institutions like York University and stuff like that, do they value those certifications when you're like applying, let's say for like a master program or a doctoral program or even applying for work? Do they matter? In your
I
experience?
don't know if they matter for academic institutions, but what they do is they're a trust badge, really.
Yeah.
So if you have, say, a degree in master marketing,
Yeah.
and then you also have these different certificates, and you can get them from a Coursera, from Udemy. I mean, there's a million different places. Continuing studies programs at universities have them. I mean, there's lots and lots of places to learn things. But that certificate becomes a badge that you can put on your profile. And it's like a shortcut. So when an employer is searching you on LinkedIn, they go, okay, they know about prompting. Okay, they know about how to place digital ads or search ads on Google. It's like a shortcut, a badge that just establishes a bit of trust. The same way on websites, you have these trust signals.
Yeah.
Like, 5-star reviews. That's good.
Yeah.
Or certain badges if you're a member of the Better Business Bureau or something like that. Those are all little signals that we see and we trust. And it's a shortcut that says, okay, I should talk to Osama versus, this guy doesn't know anything.
Like a celebrity on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. No, it makes sense. So now getting more into artificial intelligence. So this is basically we're finished with the digital marketing. Now we're gonna get into artificial intelligence, where Martin Waxman is a leading researcher in right now. So this is gonna get very interesting because if you guys follow his newsletter, everything right now is AI.
Yeah.
So let's get into
I'm
it.
obsessed with it. What can I say?
Yeah. No, AI though is very interesting because we were just talking before this. Right now, it's like a baby's mind that you can start inputting data into, and that baby's mind turns into a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old with logic and reasoning, and depending on how well you feed it.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't turn into a rebellious teenager that turns against you.
Oh, you guys gonna see our next interviewer that's gonna interview Martin Waxman is Shahid, and he's gonna talk to you about that when his video comes out, when his movie comes out. Well, okay, so the question is, when brands deploy AI tools like content creation, chatbots, or recommendation systems, what are the most common mistakes you see? And how can they better align with AI systems, AI customer expectations, and brand values?
Okay, that's great. I have a 2-word answer, and that is AI slop. What is AI slop?
Yeah.
It's really the junk that ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok spew out when you ask it a question, excuse me, when you ask it a question and give it a prompt that doesn't have enough detail. It's like garbage in, garbage out. And so everyone at work is busy. And, marketers, some of our work is just good enough. It's not amazing, right?
Yeah.
And AI is pretty good at producing good enough. So if all you're doing is using AI to check off some boxes and produce good enough work, you're not necessarily providing value to your company. What you want to do is figure out how you can take AI and get beyond the low-hanging fruit of content creation and use it almost as someone that challenges your thinking, that criticizes some of your ideas, that helps edit your ideas, that tells you which parts of a blog post aren't clear or are clear. I think those are the things you want to do. You want to ask it questions, get it to analyze things rather than saying, okay, I need a blog post about,
100%. Yeah.
because that is where, it does it, and it does it fairly well.
Yeah.
But as human beings,
Yeah.
AI puts out a ton of content, but our attention spans haven't gotten any bigger over the years. So what happens is we're inundated with all this junk, and it's harder for brands with something to say to break through. So I would say go for quality, 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 and start with human ideas.
Yeah.
And a human first draft. I know some people think, don't do that. Just let AI do it. Start with your personality.
Yeah.
Let AI push you, and then you push AI, and together, hopefully come up with something even more creative.
Yeah, 100%. Because if you were just to leave AI in the corner alone, AI has zero creativity. Yeah. It's going to just give you the slob, that vomit, that puke that's going to be continuous. And if you look at even you as a professor, when you're probably marking papers, you can probably just see it. 10 students have the same type of idea, and it's fairly just written slightly different. And you're probably looking at it what am I supposed to do with this? Rest?
That's basically it.
Yeah.
It's a challenge for all instructors.
Yeah.
Because you're getting work that's good,
Yeah.
but it is so similar, and it's not plagiarized, right?
Yeah.
But what you have is a situation where the assignment is the same for every student.
Yeah.
Students ask similar questions based on that assignment, so the output's very, very similar. How do you get beyond that? With your own originality, personality, and your own voice in writing and expressing yourself. And that's what you have to do. That's something that you did.
Yeah, 100%.
That's right.
Yeah. We have to stop being lazy with AI.
Yeah.
Because AI can do a lot more for us.
Yes.
No, 100%. Okay, so another question is, with narrow AI, right, being the current reality versus sci-fi general AI, how can marketers make practical use of available tools while remaining realistic in AI capabilities?
Yeah, so AI right now is narrow, which means it's developed to do one thing really well.
Yeah.
Now, what's changed with that is it's also become multimodal. And multimodal tools are those any-to-any prompts, text to image, text to video, text plus image to video, text plus image to video, plus translate. You can come up with so many different variations of that. And it's because AI systems are general purpose. They can process more than one type of data, but they're not artificial general intelligence. And that's confusing because you hear general purpose and artificial general intelligence, or AGI, and you think, isn't that the same thing? It's not. AGI is when a system is able to transfer what it knows from one task to another. It has common sense like us. It's when we really, have to start watching out. And we're not there yet. I was just on my way over here. I was listening to a podcast with Eric Schmidt, who's a former CEO of Google.
Yeah.
And big venture capitalist. And he was talking about AGI. For him, he thinks it's 5-10 years-ish away from now, or in the future from now. Whereas narrow AI systems can do a ton because they can process different types of data. And unfortunately, human beings can mistake them for knowing much more than they actually do. They're just prediction.
Yeah, they're just prediction machines. There we go. That's
Or
actually
maybe
very
they're not.
we don't know, but we have to kind of treat it like prediction machines. For sure. Yeah. What ethical issues should e-commerce marketers or just like marketers, online base be vigilant about when deploying AI, whether in branded content, data collection, or personalization, and how can they build and maintain consumer trust?
Wow, you know what? We could do a whole podcast on that
Yeah.
because there's so many different issues. One, customer privacy. How are you making sure? Like if you feed in your CRM
Yeah.
to an AI system and you don't have assurances from whoever your provider is, say Salesforce, or Microsoft for that matter, your data could leak. And so you have to make sure that you're scrubbing any personally identifiable information out, customer names, things like that, emails, anything that could affect your customer privacy. Your data has to be secured. And now cyber security experts, from everything I've read, are just paranoid that there's going to be an AI cyber attack. And how do you deal with that? Well, develop another AI system to deal with that. But still, privacy, data security, making sure your data is clean, there are duplicates in it, that your data is integrated and ready for AI systems, so it has to be structured properly. That's technical. That's beyond my expertise, but you have to know how to present it in a way that a machine can process or read it in its own way. And that's complicated because generative AI is conversational, but it's also a machine. So you got to go beyond just talking to it. You have to know some your prompts need to have some technical aspects or delimiters, the little square brackets or angled brackets or quotation marks that are used when coders are writing a program. You have to know when to use them and how to use them. And that, again, that's something that we need to learn. Now, I digress because we're going back to ethics. Something else in addition to, privacy, data security, you need to make sure that your data is as unbiased as possible. Human beings are biased. We can't help it. The data AI systems we're trained on are biased. So you have to figure out how you can manage that and make sure that the output is fair and representative of what you want your brand to be. Intellectual property is something else. If two companies who are both in, say, the beauty business and have e-commerce beauty sites, and their products are similar, not exactly the same, but they give the AI a similar prompt, and their output for their marketing copy is the same, can one sue the other?
Very interesting.
Did one plagiarize? No, the systems came out with something similar because the data sets they were using and the prompts are similar. And so you have to watch all of that. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to AI.
Okay, that's actually very interesting. I never thought about that before. Yeah. Could you walk through a compelling use case for relational AI, like chat D, ID, like human-like chatbots, where AI significantly enhances brand customer interaction, and what did it do well?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about Chat DID. It's a startup, and what they have is they have a series of these AI agents that are embodied. So they have faces, they have voices, and you can create your own if you pay that company for, an enterprise account. But right now you can test it out. You ask this AI a question, it responds back to you, it looks at you, and we start to feel like, oh, this thing is human. If you use any of the voice interfaces, so any of the conversational AI that ChatGPT offers, or Gemini, or Claude, it sounds like we're talking to a person. And I don't know if you remember the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix as this guy who wrote greeting cards, and Scarlett Johansson was his voice of the operating system that he was using. And he was talking to her and he fell in love with her. So in that case, Scarlett Johansson turned out to be artificial general intelligence. But right now we have these systems that seem to empathize with us, even though they don't empathize, but they know how to sound empathetic.
It's like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are in danger of developing these relationships with machines, chatbots that we'll trust.
Yeah.
And who knows if the chatbot that we trust with all our personal information might also be taking sponsored content from advertisers, and all of a sudden it's manipulating us. So we have to really be on our guard with that and step back and say, okay, no, this is a machine. At least right now it's a machine. Yeah. We're not in the Matrix yet.
Oh man, it's gonna be like iRobot very soon.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully not in my lifetime. Maybe my kids.
Yeah.
Right? So what foundational questions should e-commerce leaders be asking about AI adoption around bias, data quality, privacy, and transparency to ensure responsible and effective use?
Well, I think, one, you have to talk to your suppliers and your internal IT team to make sure that, what you want AI to do is compliant with your system, that you have the right type of data, that it's integrated and not in silos. Marketing has its own data.
Yeah.
Customer service has its own data. How do you integrate that? And you need to ensure that these companies offer you some types of guarantees. Now, you're never going to be 100%, but at least some guarantees and assurances that your proprietary data isn't going to leak out. It's not going to be accidentally used to train your competitors. Your customers' names aren't going to be leaked out. And once you have all that in place and have figured out the use cases where you're going to use AI, you need to train your team because, we think these tools are easy to use. Yeah, they are. You write a prompt in, you get an output, but in order to use them well, employees need training. And so companies have to take the time to do that. And as with anything new that you learn, there's a learning curve. Yeah, we all know how to text and chat, but there's a learning curve getting proficient at chatting with an AI in a way that gives you value and gives you, a business outcome that you're looking for, and not just takes away your time.
Yeah, no, 100%. I believe that. I believe that a little bit in a different sense as well, because I'm actually currently trying to buy data. Right. So I'm currently trying to buy data. I'm kind of sourcing from third world countries right now because those guys got some tech masters over there. And I'm very surprised to see how much data they have.
Oh, there's a lot there, a lot that is, any data breach, that any of us have been involved in, where we've given companies access to our data, they've been breached, that's scraped and resold all over the place. Yeah, it's a little frightening from an ethical perspective.
100%.
So as a company, you got to be careful when you are purchasing data because, one, you have to make sure that it's not corrupt.
It's not corrupted, yeah.
Right? There's not little scripts or algorithms in it that are suddenly scraping and collecting your proprietary data, how to get to their data set without your knowledge. It just is one example. And then when you're bringing this data into your system, you want to make sure it doesn't corrupt your data. So this is where you need an IT expert and a data scientist on your team.
Yeah,
I think.
And it's a very real world.
Oh,
that a lot of people are not exposed to.
No.
Yeah, they're kind of shrugging it off. Oh, yeah, my phone's listening to me. Google's listening to me. Oh, they think it's all good and dandy. But yeah, I think people need to kind of realize how many people are selling their data and how data's not even that expensive. Like right now, I was sourcing some type of data and they were charging me about $200 for an X amount. And it was a lot of data.
You just have to check the quality and ask yourself if you're comfortable doing that, right?
Yeah.
So because there's that line there. So I would say for companies, like big companies, want to go for first party data because you control it.
Yeah.
And it's data that you've been able to gather from your customers. There's not a lot at the beginning. I mean, if you're a startup, you have virtually no first party data. So how do you get the data you need to grow your business? And that's a challenge. That's where you may have to purchase some data.
100%.
But you do need to just...
It's a challenging thing to even purchase data. Like I'm asking so many questions because I'm really looking for data that are coming from pixels, So with certain e-commerce sites, I'm looking for, okay, like what type of pixelated data they have from Meta, from Google. That's kind of like running, like, let's say if somebody's selling beauty products, right? You gotta have pixels on beauty products in Canada, in Toronto, in the GTA, from certain locations, so I can find out the demographics, so my ads can be cleaner.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. But then again, it's very tough too, because you have to source ethical and right data.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so be careful with that. And I would say, and the providers like the platforms like Meta and like Google, what they're doing with their AI ads, like Zuckerberg said this, and there's kind of a negative side to this too. He said, pretty soon brands won't need agencies. Just come to us with your ad spend.
Yeah.
Give us access to your assets, and our AI systems will not only choose the ones, create your ads, come up with visuals. We'll also do all the targeting because we know all the signals. We'll find customer segments you never dreamed of, and you'll get better performance. But you won't be able to know what they did exactly, what your new customer segments are, because that's their black box.
As competitors, how would that work though? Like if there's like 5 or 10 beauty e-commerce stores trying to buy this data, would it just be like a bidding system?
I think it's a bidding system.
Yeah,
the same way online ads have always been bidding, right?
Okay, perfect. All right. And that's all I have for you today, Martin Waxman. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming out. This has been Critical Podcast. Please subscribe to Martin Waxman's AI and Digital Marketing Trends newsletter. Follow him on LinkedIn. He's always putting out very cool stuff.
Oh, thanks.
Follow
the Future of Marketing Institute.
Oh, yes, the Future of Marketing Institute. Yeah. They have their own whole, like, I think it's a company, right?
Well, it's really a think tank out of Schulich that's run by David Rice, Professor David Rice, who started it. We have a team of specialists, so student interns who come in, research, and create content around what's new and what the implications are. Not just AI, but, metaverse, augmented reality, holograms, you name it.
Perfect. So if you're in the tech space, AI space, or marketing space, you have to follow Future Marketing Institute and AI and Digital Marketing Trends. And thank you so much, Martin Waxman. Until next time.
Great seeing you.
Great seeing you as well.